Morning, evening, afternoon, guys. McCallum Cade here, and today we're going to be going through the entirely new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet map that you've been seeing online. Going through some of the cool details and all the kind of fun stuff that we can look forward to once the map releases, all in 8K. Let's get started. Now, when I mentioned that this photo is actually in 8K, I wasn't kidding. I think it's 8,000 by 5,000 pixels, something along those lines. The amount of detail that we're about to cover in this single photo is crazy, especially for a map this large and for a new open world Pokemon game, which, I don't know about you, I'm stoked to play. Now, for starters, out of this entire giant map, you actually start on the very, very bottom in the south. Your player actually starts in this orange house here on the left of your screen, and then you make your way across this little tiny path to the blue house, which I believe is where you're going to find the 3 starters that you get to pick from. Probably have your first battle, since we have a little battlefield right here on the beach. And also meet your friend that likes to battle that we saw in the trailer. At least the most recent and the first trailer, if I remember correctly. But either or, I think you meet her there. Obviously, after that, once you beat the first battle, you have your first Pokemon, you're actually going to make your way up the first path, which is kind of nice. I do believe that in the trailer that it showed that this is where you can start interacting with wild Pokemon. Don't hold me to that. I'm just going on what the trailer showed. Looks like we have additional fields that we can climb up top here, maybe catch a Pokemon or two. And we make our way to this first lighthouse, which I think, after looking into the trailer a bit more, the most recent trailer of this recording, is probably going to be part of one of the 3 different paths that you can do for the entire game. That's just my guess, and looking at other videos about this, strong belief that that's what's going to be, what the actual use for of these lighthouses is. From the lighthouse, obviously make your way a short little ways up, and you get introduced to your very first Pokemon Center in this kind of game. From what I understand, it has a Pokemon Center in it, so the person that heals your Pokemon, a Pokemart inside of it as well, and then I think it has a interactive internet area, so it's kind of like a gas station, especially since you now have riding Pokemon in the game. Along with that, you come across your first little village, 4 little houses. I'm assuming this is just a starting area where you get some introduction to the game, probably some tutorial situations. I mean, you could probably find a water type, bunch of grass type, who knows. Additionally, you get another Pokemon Center at the end before you could walk your way across the bridge into the giant city. One of the cool things that I noticed is that in the bridge fence here, it looks like you get onto the water, which we don't know when we're going to get surf for the riding Pokemon, or when we get climb, which we can probably later on use to climb up on top of these cliffs. It looks like you can get your way to these other ponds here, so already it's a lot of place to explore right from the get-go and level up very quickly. Obviously, once you're done with the starting area, make your way across the bridge, and now you get to go into the main city, which is Messagoza, from what I've written down. I probably butchered the name, but this is Messagoza for Scarlet and Violet. Obviously, this is where you're going to be going to school, going to the main academy that you see up here with looks like a Master Ball. Nice little touch, if you ask me. And this giant city, this is the largest city that you're going to interact with and be in the entire Paldea region. What it looks like, we have a little fighting area, 2 different Pokemarts, and a little cave here, which I had noticed before. My thought from looking at this is that it's kind of like Victory Road. In all the other different games, or the previous games, it looks like Victory Road. You have to go through the mountain, you come out on the other end, and you get to go to this giant arena that is just all by itself. And we have had 0 explanation about what this is for in the first 2 trailers. So my bet is either going to be the battle tower for like an end game kind of situation, and you can't get past until you've beaten all 8 gym leaders, or it's actually where the Elite Four are and the other champions that you can battle. We're just going to have to see. Now from here, my guess is that once you went through the academy, you did all your little classes, got yourself started on the treasure hunt, you have 3 options. 1, you can go back home, which I don't think anyone's literally going to do from the get-go, or you can go east or west. We have a bunch of different options, and as you saw from how large this map is, you got a lot of options if you go east and west. So what I'm going to do from here on out, I'm going to hit one side first and then the other, meet in the middle at the snowy mountain. Follow me? We're going to start on the east side. Now, going from the city, we go to the east side when you're looking at it, and you immediately come across another Pokemon Center after you just went to another Pokemon Center. So are we going to quickly run into a bunch of different Pokemon that we're already going to have to fight? Are we going to hit up our rival? Yeah, we're just going to have to see. It'd be cool if we fought our rival immediately there. I think that'd be a perfect segue. But then we first come across these towers. Now my thought is that these towers are little lookout posts. It looks like you can climb up them. You have little entrances on the top from ladders that we saw in the trailers. I almost hope that they make them like the Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild, kind of like towers that you can fast travel to. And it opens up more of the map for you to actually look at as a player instead of just referencing this the whole time, which would be very tiresome. So I hope that they have that mechanic placed into there. I think that'd be a cool addition. It does also look like that we can quickly go down to another path, hit up a couple of these other puddles, and potentially get down to the bottom here, onto the beach. We don't know. Obviously, we're just going to have to see when the game comes out. But it'd be cool that you can immediately start doing more of the open world and start catching Pokemon, a bunch of different types, maybe some new region variants. Following the path more directly, we come across our first little town with our first gym tower. I don't really think they'll probably be called gyms, but they look more like towers to me. So from now on, I'm gonna call them towers. Nonetheless, it looks very focused on the fact that you're gonna be battling someone here in the middle. It has a cool little green maze. It's nice and greenery, a bunch of little ponds. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is where you're gonna fight the first gym. I'm gonna think it's gonna be the grass gym, just from the looks of it. Very lush, very casual, and the gym, one of the first gyms that you come across in normal Pokemon games. So following the path even more, we come across these flags that you see in the trailer that have like the red and yellow star on there. I think that's actually going to be the third main storyline that we come across. So we'll see what it really does. Maybe it's a checkpoint. Maybe you have to battle somebody there. Following this short path along the riverbank, we come across our second major town. And I think it's also the second largest out of all the towns. That's just my guess. You let me know if you think differently, but this just screams water tower to me. The water gym, however you want to say it, because it's right smack dab there. It's literally floating in the bay into the ocean, and it also looks pretty expansive. So I'm excited to see what kind of stuff we see in this. I also want to know what these towers are for. Kind of looks very business town-like to me, but we'll see what happens. Maybe it's kind of like a Silphco that we've had from other games in the past. Next, we also come across the next lighthouse, which just happens to be blue, which is, very fitting for the area. From there, we get a pretty desolate area. From what I can tell, this looks like one of the clips that we got from the most recent trailer where you're flying over a giant hole with the flying Pokemon, the riding Pokemon that turn into flying Pokemon. You follow it even more, you come across another little grouping with another battlefield, another Pokemon Center, and this little weird rock dome. So my theory for this particular area is actually where you're going to come across a bunch of different fossils and a bunch of different fossil Pokemon, because there were leaks on Twitter and social media that were talking about that we're going to see a lot of different fossil Pokemon in this game. Whether that's true or not, we'll wait and find out in November, but I think that rock dome will actually be one of the places that you can resurrect them like we have in different places in previous games. So that's just my theory. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. From the rock dome area continuing north, we come across another bunch of flags. Who knows what they're used for? Maybe it's another checkpoint that we have to get through after doing XYZ in the game. Other than that, we come more of a mountainous area. Looks a little rougher compared to where we have been, so maybe higher level Pokemon. Maybe we'll find different Pokemon here, more than likely, but at the same time, it comes to a dead end. You can only cross this bridge, and you only can get out by either using waterfall or climbing up your way to the top of the mountains here and hitting up this other Pokemon Center and getting to this other more drastic looking area, if you ask me. So maybe we come to a point in the story where we have to progress certain things, getting certain abilities for the riding Pokemon to actually get to these areas. We see some more flags. They're yellow flags this time, so maybe we run into a bunch of different groups. Who knows? A single tree like we've had in Legend Arceus. Maybe there's some specialty Pokemon that only appear on this tree. Who knows? These super jagged cliffs are intimidating as can be. And also, you come across this muddy area. I bet that's where we're going to find the Wooper variant for this area. Other than that, looks like another giant expanse where we're going to run into a bunch of tougher Pokemon. I'm curious if this opens up as well, where all this fog and cloud is covering. Again, we will have to see in November. Finishing up the east side of this map, we have the giant snowy mountain. Looks like this is where we got introduced to the Ice Gym leader up here in the Ice Gym Tower. You actually saw in the intro and the trailer that recently came out, you got to fight them on here against one of the new Pokemon for the region, which is really cool. My question is, how the heck are we going to get up here? Looks like you could do a bunch of different paths, but, I mean, who really knows, right? I mean, we could come up from this side, coming from the west to the east. Maybe we use the rock climbing that we saw in the trailer to get all the way up. Heck, maybe we snowboard, because we know that this ice gym leader was a snowboarder in the game before they became a gym leader. Who knows? I'm excited to find out, honestly. From the ice gym tower, we take this little sloped path. I hope get the snowboard down there to one of the other gyms that we see here on this snowy top resort area with another gym tower, which is kind of nice. I wonder if they're similar or they're just completely opposite. Maybe twin gym leaders. We'll see. Other than that, this is the most northern part, aside from this lighthouse over here, that we can get to from what we can tell on this map. Coming back down to Messagoza, so that now we can hit the west side of the map a little bit more in detail. It looks like we come across another town, but it is surrounded by a bunch of farming fields. One of my thoughts that I had seen and also thought of from seeing other videos is that this could either be vineyards, because we are in the Spain-Portugal area and there's tons of wine around there, or it could also be olive trees, because we do run into the Pokemon called Smoliv, that we have seen plenty of times and was one of the first Pokemon introduced of this region. So, yeah, food for thought. From the farming town, we can go south, but we're not going to get very far until we get a bunch of different abilities for the riding Pokemon. And this looks like just another giant expanse of places that we can explore either late game or post game. I'm excited for it. I hope we can access it pretty quickly. But if you go north, it looks more of a direct route that we can get to some of the windmills that we saw in the trailers. From there, going south, we hit another one of our more major towns that we see here on the coast and on the cliffs at the same time. Now, this quaint little cliff town looks really cool and really peaceful if you ask me. I don't know how the heck we're going to get there. The main road shows that it comes here. Maybe we enter the town through this cave over here. Maybe we find another way into. But other than that, it looks kind of resorty. Very relaxing area. My thought for the gym leader that we have here in the gym tower, maybe Psychic, only because of the purple battlefield that we have here under this little half dome thing. And we also have a tower right here. So that's my guess for it. You guys let me know what you think. Going north from our little cliff town here, we come right back across where the windmills are. We can go left to where it looks like kind of like a glyph or some kind of rock blocking the way into another little cave. It reminds me of the glyphs that we saw in Sword and Shield that got bursted open by Kuparaja. That's just my thought. I mean, we have something going on there in the story as well. One of the three. Going east from that little glyph area, it really opens up the world a lot more. The next thing that we really come across is another tower up on a mini cliff, and then some more blue flags, which, again, we don't fully know what they mean yet. But then we come across our next gym tower, Gym City. What it looks like, it could look like another water town, but this looks also very resort-like. So your guess is as good as mine. It could be, this could be the water tower, or the other one on the ocean could be. We don't know yet, but I like the aesthetic of this town. Right next to this little river cliff town that we have here, we come across the giant sandy part of the entire map and come across this really interesting looking rock circle. Maybe it's an end game thing as well. Heck, maybe it's a giant Pokemon with a rock crown. Hey, you guys let me know. Going north from there, after we get out of the sands and the desert, we come across a little dock town where it, if you guess like me, I have a feeling that we might get another boat that comes across and lets us travel to different areas. Maybe DLC area. We also come across our third lighthouse. So we came across the southernmost lighthouse, easternmost lighthouse, and now we have the westernmost lighthouse. So there's got to be something about them. I really do hope that we get like surf pretty quickly in this game, because this whole thing is covered in water. It almost feels like more water than it actually is just land to run across. From the dock town, we keep on going across some paths. Maybe we go under this. That'd be kind of cool. It looks like the route goes around. We come across another tower, and we get introduced to this giant lake. Now, whether it's freshwater, saltwater, or it combines into both, this is a massive lake. The amount of stuff that we're going to find in this lake and leading into this kind of desert fall looking area. it, the amount of stuff that we're going to be able to find, Pokemon items, events, who knows. I'm excited to explore this whole place because most of this is focused on the wild area more than the actual little towns that we come across right next to the lake. Now, as we follow the path and go past the lake, we come across the one and only town that is on top of this giant crater, creating this giant hurricane inside. So I'm excited to find out what's going on inside the crater. But for this town, you have one little gym. There's a bunch of different, looks like apartments to me. Maybe this is one of the research centers trying to figure out what the heck is going on inside the crater. So this little gym is pretty well hidden. I bet this gym is a flying gym. That's just my guess. From this flying tower gym, we can come across more of the cliffs here that we have. Another way to get into the lake. And we come across the foot of the mountains that we had explained on the eastern explanation. It kind of leads to a dead end up here. So I don't know if we're going to have different routes that aren't etched on this map, or we can go to the right or go to the left up either one of the mountains we want. But there's definitely a way, because we come across the very last of the 4 lighthouses on the map. The northernmost lighthouse, that's green, with pink flags that I can tell. So we can get there somehow. In what way, I don't fully know. After taking so much time and analyzing this entire map, this just gets me so much more excited than I already was for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to come out. The amount of expansive areas that we get to do, they said it's an open world RPG style of Pokemon, which we've never had before. You can take your own routes, you can go east, west, you can go back home if you want to in the very beginning. The amount of stuff that we're going to be able to explore, the amount of Pokemon that we're going to come across, and the fact we have 3 stories, it just gets me jazzed up to actually play this game finally. I hope you guys are excited as I am for this, and yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Maybe I have a couple theories that you guys disagree with. Maybe you have some theories of your own. I'd love to hear them, especially since we have 3 more months of waiting on the day of this recording. So you guys let me know. If you could, drop a like, hit subscribe for some more content coming out sooner than later. I appreciate you watching the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.